Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3885. Today's date is February 14, 2026. It's been almost like a night at no, it's not night. It's a morning at 9:33 a.m. February 14. Okay, yeah. Probably this date people might not forget probably because this is the one of the date that just people remember. I will not gonna tell you the reason for it. Okay, yeah, but still this date is like I don't know, in the entire world, like if I'm kind of like a thinking about from entire world and every people from every corner of the world, what kind of like event that they celebrate together. Most of people might gonna say Christmas. Yeah, but that is not. Why? Yeah, Christmas is a most of like a European American people celebrate. Okay, yeah, European North South America, they celebrate. Africa, African people does celebrate Christmas. They might know Christmas. Like it's a yeah, like it's a kind of like a thing that it's a kind of like a small event that like they recognize, might not celebrate or not. I'm not really sure. I belong to the India, by the way. We have Christmas, yeah, we have this holiday, okay, yeah, but Christmas has never really been that much kind of like a something that key celebration should supposed to be, and that is not about the kind of like a something. Christmas is about the basically this thing na ki I'm living in India. The Christian community are here are very less, okay. So the basically this thing the in the US and Europe they have kind of like a very excitement level of things about the Christmas. In here might not. In here we have Diwali, Holi. We are really much excited about this thing. This festival might not celebrate over there. That is true, by the way. Okay, yeah, because every community kind of like a celebrate each festival that meant for them, meant for right for them. I'm not kind of like a somebody, kind of like a somebody diminishing Christmas. Definitely not. Oh yeah, it's a kind of like a thing that na every community of the people celebrate their own festival. Okay, yeah. But what is actually the one festival or one event that everyone celebrate probably or might not celebrate, but probably they might recognize or things like that. Like I don't know. Like Christmas is kind of like a bit more official probably. Okay, yeah. There is only one event that I might think that everyone celebrate on rest of the world. Okay, I'm not really sure about the Chinese people too, because China is actually contribute the very much big contribution to the world population, and I'm not really sure about that. Ki Chinese people does celebrate the 14th February. Okay, why? Because like I don't know. Okay, yeah, because it's a kind of like only the American calendar probably. I don't know. It's just like that, na ki Chinese people always rejected all those kind of like some the events are actually from the Western and things like that. So I'm not really sure about that. Okay, but I think probably they might have such a festival regarding about love, and probably 14th February is a kind of like some festival that they might be probably, yeah. I think that na ki like in rest of the world or in every world or not every world, like every corner of the world, 14th February is a kind of like a somebody celebrate every corner probably. Okay, yeah, it's not a kind of like a some typical kind of like a festival that you just kind of like a somebody just play the DJ and kind of like a somebody just no, it's not. It just kind of like a somebody we just recognize this thing. It's not an official kind of like some event. It's not a kind of like some official holiday that people should supposed to get holiday. No, nothing like that. It's just kind of like some day that people kind of like recognize. Oh, this is a kind of like some things and that and that. But why? Yeah, why? Why does people celebrate the Valentine's Day? Okay, it's because of that na ki okay, I'm not really sure about the history. Probably this is like I heard probably, but not really exactly clear. I not exactly clear. Basically, there is a Valentine guy who things happen. I'm not really sure about what exactly happened. And this story is actually from Europe. Probably, I'm still not really sure about that. Why we celebrate the 14th February? Why we celebrate the Valentine Day and things and that. But there is might be a reason that I might think that why we celebrate the things. Okay, yeah. What is that? Okay, so basically this thing, even if we are kind of like a different religious, different bigger background people, different ethnicity of the people, different cultural people and things and that. Okay, yeah. But in the end, we all are people. We all are human. We all are things. Okay, yeah. Like that is only one thing that we have common in between us, and that is also another one thing is actually common, is that we could express love, or we could kind of like feel the love. Okay, yeah. like like basically is this thing na ki love is a kind of like a simply language, doesn't really require any kind of like a simply culture, ethnicity, or any kind of like a something. No, we just connect. There is no rich, there is no poor, there is no this guy or that guy, there is no gender. Everyone feels that thing. Okay, like I love somebody or things like that. And because of this thing, because of kind of like we have this kind of like a same feeling, we need a kind of like a day that we should supposed to celebrate that feeling. And probably that 14th February is a kind of like a day that we choose to celebrate, I think. But it's good. Okay, yeah. I'm not really sure about that. This is the only day that we celebrate as a kind of like a for love, or there is also another day, because I just only know only one day, 14th February. Probably there is might be another couple of days maybe that we should supposed to celebrate love, but 14th February is a kind of like a day that most of people kind of like celebrate, right? Yeah. Okay, so what's your plan for 14th of February? Okay, what is actually my plan? There is also one thing that I wanted to mention. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I just had a very heavy breakfast. Pav bhaji. Okay, yeah. The like basically I don't know how do I supposed to explain this thing. It's just kind of like okay. I'm 32 by the way. Okay, and at this age you might not feel that much love, or like you might like I don't know, there is a kind of like a changes happen inside of me that for me, like when I was a teenager, when I was a kind of like a late 20 or early 20, I was like a very much like excited for love or things or that and that. Love means like I like somebody, not sex. Okay, sex is a another thing. Okay, yeah, it's a part of thing, but sex is another. But kind of like a thing that I am really excited for this thing. I wanted to really excited for this experience this love. Okay, yeah, in my early 20s, and it was too much. It was too much. I never really think that anything could be more important than that. Okay, but since you age, after you cross 30, you kind of like assembly just understand that there is also another essential things are also available too. Okay, like career, jobs and things, ambitions, goals and things and that, which is also yeah essential too. Okay, so at this age, I'm not saying that the feeling for love is gone. No, it's actually there, but it's like it takes kind of like a little less space. Okay, yeah. The person I was kind of like a liking. Okay, there is a one person that I might love probably. Oh yeah, like it's a kind of like it's very hard to embarrass this kind of like saying this word love and things like that. Whatever, but I like a particular person in my life, and I genuinely really like that particular person. Like really love that particular person. I seen future with her. Like I seen a kind of like some imaginary future with her, and and probably is this enough. This is a kind of like somebody one thing that I might think that it it is a kind of like a thing that I like. I don't know, there is only very less people who like only one person, okay, that I kind of like feel like I kind of like a love or like person. Okay, yeah. Okay, let me give you another thing is that attraction and the love is a two different thing. Okay, attraction come like when you see the person, you like the person, but you don't really know that person. That just attraction, that just kind of like some just attraction that have in between us. love is a kind of like something happen when you spend time with that particular person and you kind of like started imagine the rest of the life together. That is called kind of like something love. I'm not really sure, I am not expert in that thing, but most of people kind of like say that thing. And for that, if I'm looking at from that point of context, then I might say there is only one person that I really love, person really like I see in the kind of like somebody the future with her. Okay. And like basically does it wrong, like she gone away? No, she's not, like she's gone away, yeah, it's not really that, like whatever. Okay, I don't want to talk about this thing, but today is that particular person's birthday. Yeah, why do I still remember that? I don't know. Just like really fuck, dude. Okay. um so that's why this day is a kind of like a bit more, even more special for me, because this is day that she has that birthday. Okay, yeah, today, like it's her birthday. Okay. And like I never really wish her, never really at all, but I still remember this day. And I don't know, I just like I shouldn't supposed to. I don't know, yeah. Like, why do I kind of like feel like that? I don't know. Just thing. Um, Define love. What do you think about love? If you wanted to define, or how do you supposed to define the love? Or yeah, I think that I think I am not that a credible person to kind of like a defining love. Because of that, yes, I experience love, but that is a half baked experience. Okay, half baked experience means what? Like I like that particular person, really. Like I was kind of like thinking about my future life with that particular person, but she didn't really knew that. It's a kind of like a one-sided love. So it's not a like a full big love. That is definitely not. Okay, yeah. Love is actually came from the when you know both that you are kind of like loving each other, and you are kind of like experiencing that love, sharing that moment and things, and understanding that fact. I never really kind of like somebody feel that thing. I never really experienced that thing. So probably I'm not that a credible person to kind of like somebody defining that what exactly love and things like that. But throughout my entire period of lifetime, I seen the importance of it. Okay, what is exactly that? What is exactly that importance? It kind of like gives us that key a kind of like somebody reason to live, probably. Like, what do you mean by that? Reason to live? Like, I don't know, yeah. Okay, let me give you context. Okay, yeah. What is actually my reason for live? Like, am I living right now? What is actually reason for that? Because I wanted to do something. I wanted to chase my goal. I wanted to achieve my ambitions and goals and things and that. Right? Yeah. But why do you do that? Like, why? Because I wanted to do that. But why do you do that? Like, why you wanted to achieve your goal? It's because of that I think that because of my goals and things, I might kind of like solve so many problems which actually happen in the community or things and that, as well as while achieving that goal, I will make my life as much as better as it can. So it not only add value to the people, but it actually add value to me. And yeah, so that's some kind of like a try to achieve my goals. Okay, yeah. Okay, what if after you achieve your goal, would you still doing your work? Yeah, like basically this is thing that key achieving goal is not meant to be kind of like somebody just achieve the goal. It's a kind of like a thing that key after I achieve the goal, I wanted to kind of like somebody, like basically this thing key when I achieve something really goal, I wanted to maintain that goal. I wanted to maintain that it consistently added the value to the people, to me, to surrounding situation and things like that. Okay, so I wanted to kind of like maintain the kind of like somebody like I wanted to be kind of like somebody, that particular person. Like basically I just wanted to maintain that key I am kind of like a successful person, so I have to be kind of like a maintain myself successful throughout my entire lifetime. Okay, so yeah, like after I achieve my goal, I'm still gonna do this thing. Yeah, but why? Like, what do you mean why? Like I already mentioned now, like why I'm kind of like doing this thing and that and that. Like yeah, you mentioned things, but why? Um, like I think that na, this is the only thing that I could able to do. Are you really? Like there are so many options that you could do. It's not that you can't do one thing, and there are multiples of goals and things like that. But why you do this thing? What is exactly the reason? What exactly is there? I think that I could, I think that na, ki every person are meant to do one thing, and I am the person who are doing this thing. Look, I like basically this thing na ki, um, um, like basically this thing. Not everyone would be a dancer, but the person who loved dancing became a dancer. So, so why are you doing this thing? Because I love it. That's the point, dude. That's the point. Okay, yeah. We love doing this. You are trying to achieve your goal is because of that. You love this been through process. You love this kind of like a try to achieve your goal. You love kind of like a somebody what should you supposed to do after you achieve goal. Because of this relation between you and your goal, have that love, that kind of like actually push yourself to try to achieve your goal. It's a kind of like imagine that ki your ambition, your goal is a kind of like somebody a high maintenance girlfriend. Okay, yeah, and you wanted to achieve her, you wanted to kind of like get her and things like that. Is because of that you love her. That is the thing. Okay, yeah. Love is not meant between just a person to person. Love is meant for things that we actually like, and I think that is a love, like because you love your ambition, your goal and things like that. That's why you kind of like woke up every single day and kind of like simply record artifact, do your work every single day for almost like a non-stop for hours and hours and things like that. Because of that, love is the only kind of like a some emotion that just exists inside of us, and it kind of like a simply give us reason to live. And not just me, everyone does that. Everyone have that kind of like a simple feeling. Okay, yeah. Like for someone, might for you might be kind of like achieving your goal is a kind of like a love, but somebody love might be a kind of like a very different, like basically spending time with family or things like that. For somebody, love means kind of like simply going to the trekking or things like that. For somebody, love means kind of like a dancing and things like that. But dude, that is a purpose, na? Dude, purpose is different. Purpose means like that now when you achieve your purpose, then there is no like there is no kind of like a somebody is this thing, there is no kind of like a things that key like we should suppose we maintain the purpose or things like that. Like a purpose is kind of like a somebody exists till it achieve. After you achieve, purpose is gone, but love is always be there, na? Like Elon Musk keep doing his work is because of his love. He's really passionate. He was kind of like a constantly doing his work is because of he loved this experience. Even he's a kind of like a multi-billionaire and things like that, but still he wake up every single day and kind of like do his work because of he loves his work. He's not just purposeful. He is a purposeful, yeah, that is true, but he already achieved his purpose, everything. He built SpaceX, he built Tesla, he built everything that he imagined, but still he complete his purpose, but still he do his thing because he love. So love is the only thing that we are kind of like a reason to do this thing, reason that we are actually exist and things like that. I think that is a probably a correct way to define love, probably. Okay, but still is this thing that key if I'm started kind of like a somebody defining love, it's not a kind of like a somebody the exact right. Why is that? Because it's a kind of like somebody comes in very different shapes and sizes. There are billions way to execute the love, or there are billions way to kind of like a showcase the love and things like that. Yeah, literally billions of years. Okay, yeah, like some people kind of like some person might have love with his dog, some person have love with the goal, some person love with his car, some person love with his the stuff that he do, some person love with some another person, some person love the earth, some person love the breathing air and things like that, some person love in something that probably like a I don't know what exactly is this thing. I also wanted to ask the question to myself, in the universe, that love is a kind of like assembly, is this kind of like assembly exists, like a, is like a, why we kind of like feel like that, why we have love, like a, like can only the humans celebrate love, or can humans only have that emotion? Does any species have that emotion? Well, one thing is that, yeah, I think the every species have that kind of like some emotion of love. um we already know how these humans are kind of like expressing love, but animal does they do. The the mother monkey kind of like somebody saving the child monkey. Why? Because like that child is a child, she love, it's a kind of like a care. Every species are try to protect their own kind. And why? Is because they have love in between us. They wanted to kind of like, they want their child should supposed to survive, their community should supposed to survive. That's why they are kind of like somebody try to put effort to not to die and things like that. Every effort, every species does that thing. Even trees are also do the same thing too. How does tree kind of like somebody say, kind of like express the love? uh is because of the yeah, like it's a very hard to explain that how does trees are kind of like something that key, like have that love emotion. Does tree have emotion? Like, does tree have kind of like something that love emotion? Like first of all, it's a very hard to explain this thing that tree does have any kind of like something that key love emotion probably. But one thing I realized that key, like okay, like basically this, you know, every species are try to protect their own kind. Then why not tree does that thing? Why not tree are kind of like assembly that protecting their own kind, protecting their own species and civilization? Why they are not fight for the space? Why they are not fighting for sunlight? They are fighting for sunlight, that is true. Okay, yeah, in the Brazil there is a kind of like a forest, they are kind of like a fighting for sunrise. They're fighting for sunlight. Okay, yeah. So yeah. uh, Regarding about trees, I'm not really sure, because this is the only living thing that might not have any emotion, probably because every living species have emotion, and a tree have it or not, I'm not really sure about that. Okay, yeah, that is the only thing that would, I don't know, probably. Yeah. So I think that na ki, I'm gonna ask the question that ki, why nature creates the love? Like why not we are kind of like a, like act like a tree, just stay there and do his business and things like that. uh I think that na ki, like basically this thing, we have two things of living thing, non-living thing. Like there is a chair in front of me, non-living thing. There is a tree in front of me, living thing. Okay, yeah. So there is a two thing, living thing and non-living thing. Okay, yeah. A cat is a living thing. The chair is non-living thing. Why does cat living thing? Is because of she's live, she move, she born, she die. So that's why she's a living thing. Then why not chair is a living thing? Because chair is also kind of like a born in kind of like assembly the factory, and it die at somewhere. So probably there is a life of this chair. So chair would be have kind of like assembly life. That is not the life. Like basically is this thing that the cat is actually born by natural process. It actually come from the mother and things like that, and she also die from the natural process too. The chair does not born by naturally, and another thing is that key chair does not die naturally too. Okay, yeah, like probably is this thing, they it's a kind of like only rely on something, a kind of like a factory and things and that, right? So there is high chances that chair is not living thing. Okay, yeah. So chair is not living thing, right? Yeah, and cat is a living thing. Yeah. Then difference between cat and tree, which is living thing? Both are living thing. Why? uh, Both are born, both are die. Okay, yeah, that is true. Then both can move. Tree can move, Well, yeah, tree. Yeah, some tree move. Like it's not really move. It's a grow in itself and things like that. Yeah. Does cat have a emotion? Does tree have emotion? Uh, I I don't know that. It's a very not so sure about this thing. Okay. So it's a very hard to explain regarding about tree. I think that na ki tree is a kind of like a half living thing and half non-living thing, probably. Okay, yeah, because it creates its own food. Like no other species could able to do this thing. Might be some species, but basically it's this thing that tree is a kind of like a creates its own food in itself by photosynthesis process. None of the species could able to do this thing. So probably it's a super living thing. Like basically it's this thing that key you are kind of like a simply just creating more food inside of you. Probably it would be like a, I don't know. Sometimes I just kind of like simply went ahead to talk about such thing that just doesn't make any sense at all. Whatever. Wishing you very happy Valentine Day. Okay, yeah. If you love somebody, confess your love with that particular person. If you love something, try to achieve that something. If you love kind of like a something, I don't know, that something would be kind of like a, I don't know, that would be anything. For me, my love would be my goal, my ambitions and things like that. For you might be love means kind of like a somebody, a person. For somebody a love means kind of like a somebody car, or maybe kind of like a somebody breathing air. Probably just do your thing, just just keep believing that it gives us reason to live, it gives us reason to kind of like somebody exist on this planet. Probably whatever. Sometimes I just kind of like a talk about such a kind of like a somebody very like a TikTok level of stuff. Probably I don't know why. It just like a really fuck. Like I don't know. It just like I don't really usually kind of like a talk like that. Like I just had a kind of like a heavy breakfast food. Yeah, and it's not really good to kind of like sit. So that's why I'm kind of like a walking here and kind of like talking about stupid shit. Okay, yeah. By the way, usually artifact I kind of like ask question to myself to understand myself and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. So let's just ask question. Alright, yeah. Why my doc is a kind of like hanging a lot? Like basically every time I kind of like open this document, it just kind of like a load a lot. By the way, my mobile processor is a really good and it can easily open any kind of like a document. But this document, it just, yeah, I also understand there is almost like a thousands of questions are actually in here. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it takes kind of like a lot of time to open and things like that. I have to make this kind of like a document little bit of lighter. Okay, the question is, do I back up my file properly, both locally and the cloud? Oh, that's a really good question. Okay, first of all, what exactly is this question, and why am I asking this question to myself? This is a kind of like simply the like a YouTube realization question. When I ask this question to myself, I know more about myself. I know more about as a content creation. I know more about as a platform. I know more about my creativity and things like that. And it kind of like add value in so many ways. It kind of like a make me the person as a kind of like a better YouTuber, better content creator. Yeah. Okay. So question is that, do I back up my file properly, locally or cloud? Well, I have backup my file. I still have kind of like all my previous design that I did 2 years ago. Still have that locally. Cloud, still I can't afford to back up my files on cloud because obviously it's very expensive. Okay, yeah. And the things. Okay, if I am a that a kind of like a bigger person, like a bigger YouTuber and things like that, I might gonna do this thing. Or if I have a kind of like a bigger team which actually working locally, or like a different religion or different region, then it's really essential to have a kind of like a simply local backup unit, or maybe kind of like a cloud backup unit, which everyone can access and everyone can do these things. For me, I am the only one who kind of like create the content, and my piece of content is not really that big. I usually create a kind of like a short form video content, and for that short form video content, it doesn't really require that much thing. Yeah. So I do have backup my files locally, not on cloud. All right. Okay. So I should supposed to end here. So this is it. This is it. And thank you.